Hey board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back in the Gumbo Pot with an unboxing and overview of a game from Dr. Finn's games, The Feds. Let's get right to that Game Toppers LLC table and see what's inside this box and how it plays. The Feds is a strategic game for 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 to 45 minutes. It's got light mechanical actions that we see from a lot of Dr. Finn's games that have a lot of crunchy decisions just from these simple little actions. But let's get right inside. This is a review copy from Dr. Finn's games, and I also did some playtesting for the game, so understand that before we go in here. So the copy that I have is the Kickstarter. I actually bought one, and Dr. Finn sent me another one, so I have one to give away that we'll be doing for Southern Board Game Fest. So keep an eye out for that, because Dr. Finn is always a big supporter of Southern Board Game Fest, and I want to thank him for that. So might be a little different from the copy that you see. We're going to explore a little bit of that, and one of those things is a promo card from, of course, New Orleans. Because originally I had suggested that this be about a federal bureau in New Orleans doing some investigations, and Dr. Finn had kind of widened it out to bring in a lot of other cities. But I am glad that he kept in the New Orleans city card. And that's one of the cool things about this game. So as you can see when we get inside the box, the gameplay is the same every game, except that the feds are going to be investigating a crime family or crime families in different cities around the United States. One of those being New Orleans, if you have that promo card. And each one, if you look on the back, changes some of the rules to the game, or to the scoring, or to the mechanics of the game, depending on that city. So it kind of brings in a little bit of replayability, a little freshness every time you play, because you never know which city is going to be coming out. Let's see what's inside. We've got the rule book. Love right on the front cover, beautiful full color illustrations of every single different part of the game. So you know right away what we've got. We've got all the different criminals, the stop signs that we use whenever we run out of space to put the moles, all the different cards. So right away you can see that. The game is really going to be for 3 to 4 players, but there's a variant inside the box to play with 2 players. So here's the setup, and again, full color setup, showing you where everything goes, tied in by numbers. Very well done. I like that. Shows the different phases of the game, and also kind of identifies what each of the terms, there's a lot of thematic elements. You got moles and agents and field agents, and it's going to explain all that in these terms. So that's pretty good. The object of the game: as the leader of an FBI unit, you're going to send your agents out to gather intel, infiltrate different mobs, and arrest wanted criminals. And those criminals are going to be in the form of those meeples. And of course, trying to get as many of each color and score it really far out is going to be interesting. Another take on that, collecting as many as you can that we've seen in River City Glassworks. Take turns deploying agents to locations, performing special actions. We're going to do those secretly before each turn. So that's going to, bluffing and trying to outthink what your opponent's going to do. At game end, arrest criminals to score victory points. Depending on the strength that you have, you'll go first to pick the different criminals. The player with the most victory points wins. Talks about playing the game, all the 7 rounds, 7 cards, 7 rounds. Each round will be playing 1 mole to a certain area, a certain location, and then we'll flip that over and we'll do that in player order. And then we activate those special agents. Whatever agents are going to be already at that location that we played our mole to, it's going to reveal that agent. And some of those agents are special agents that have some kind of cool power that's based on what's happening in that city. And then we'll close locations if there are at least 7 or more agents there. Pass the first player token, which in this case is an FBI badge right here, as you can see. And we'll keep doing that. Once all the 7 cards are out, we'll arrest the criminals. We'll do the scoring, and they've got the rules for the 2-player games. And I'm in the rule book. Hey, I always like this. Look, doing this thing for 10 years, and it's nice to see your name in a rule book. Thanks to the Kickstarter backers who made it possible. Thanks to BGA Board Game Gumbo for helping with the game storyline. So, thank you, Doc. You didn't have to do that because the game is not actually New Orleans. It's just a little tiny part of the game, but that is super appreciated. Steve is a great guy. He's been on the show many times, and we're big fans of Dr. Finn's games. Illustrated by Rakio Ognovich, with graphic design by Sebastian Kosner. And I really like the artwork here. I couldn't tell from the Kickstarter page how much I would like it, but in person, it's really cool looking. It's got kind of that graphic novel look with under dark noir, underbelly, seedy type of thing. So far so good. Let's look at the tokens. First player token here. Yeah, so we got some cardboard to punch. Not a lot, but we've got the siren tokens. I actually don't know what these do because I don't remember that as part when we did the play testing. So I'll have to find that out. And then these are the utility tokens. I watched a how to play video by the always excellent Brody from Meeple Mountain, and Brody did a great job of explaining how it plays. So go check that out on YouTube if you get a chance. But the scenario he played with his son was Chicago, where these were actual scoring tokens. So they put them out randomly at the different locations in the city, and whoever had the most strength got that token, which means you got that bonus point. So I'm sure they were duking it out over who's going to get the big four. And apparently there's some special powers or different cities that can manipulate that, so that's kind of cool. And the stop signs, that just tells you that there are 7 or more agents that have been exposed, so you can't play any more cards there. So we don't. This is just a helpful, friendly reminder there. All right, so I showed you New Orleans, and all this little special rules for the New Orleans card. Let me give you a good look at that, just in case anybody's out there that has backed it but doesn't have this. You might want to pick up New Orleans. But the game, if you got the retail version, you're going to get a bunch of cities. We've got DC, and I just had a game designer from DC, from the DMV. I had Glenn Flaherty on the show. Chicago, my sister lives in Chicago. I love visiting Chicago, so we're definitely going to have to play this scenario. And we just finished we're watching Dark Matter, so that's one I want to play. Detroit, Motor City, Houston, right down the road, and home of Our Family Plays Games, or originally, that's where Mick is from. New York, and LA. Not Lower Alabama, like we would say here in Louisiana, but the other LA, Los Angeles. I wonder if other states think, when they hear LA, do they think Los Angeles, or do they think Louisiana and LA, Lower Alabama first? Because when I hear LA, that's what I think of first. I think of either Lower Alabama or Louisiana. Okay, so we have some locations. They're the same 4, as far as I know, and you're going to play them in, at least with the Chicago one, you're going to play them in alphabetical order. So it'll be the club first, and then the docks, and then the restaurant, and then the warehouse. And the only thing to note about these locations is that there's a place to put your mole, and you place that face down, and then there'll be room on the side to place out the other cards. So locations are very simple, but they've got really, really cool graphics on here. So, this whole thing is all about setting. So you're going to be in the setting. You know that Dr. Finn's going to have a game that's going to have some math and some critical thinking in terms of what is my opponent really looking for. But it's also got, this is a very thematic game. So these are the 4 player boards. And of course, super cool, they've got the steps. They actually, you can teach this game by showing each player their player area. And on their player board, it tells you the 4 things that are going to happen during the game. It's also got the locations. And when we play those moles, our agents in our hand, we're going to play them face down, and we're going to play them to that location. So when you do this simultaneously, I haven't played it yet, so at least not in this version, but it's going to be a challenge to try to figure out where's your opponent going and how strong of a card that was that they just played. So, and on the back, when we finish the game, on the back, you'll do your scoring by placing your criminals. In the box, there are 4 different colors of criminals, and they'll go on here. And obviously, there are more pink ones, so if you want to score 20 points, you got to collect all of them, a ton of them. There are only spots for 6 orange ones, so it's easier to get to the 20 if you can get just 6, but it's harder because there are less of them. There are also, though, the gray criminals, and the gray criminals are wild, so they can fit in any criminal that you want. And I'm assuming that's what's in this bag, because that's what this looks like. All right, we'll take this part out. And then let me just dump them in here. It gets this nice white background. All right. I do not know what the dice is for, but it's a nice. Feels kind of wooden, but maybe plastic. I'm not sure. But it rolls well, and it's got that the numbers that carry through with the theme. And then these are those gray. These are those gray criminals I told you about. They're wild, so if you're trying to collect that last orange, that'll get you the 20. That'll do it. All of these are chunky, and oh, this is such a cool touch. They didn't have to do this, but each one of them appears to be a different shape. Oh, neat. That's cool. So, and again, you didn't have to do that because you already got the colors, but that's a nice little touch. Got a blue car here. It looks like a police car. I'm not sure what that is. I'm assuming that's going to be some of the cities because, like I said, I've only seen New Orleans and Chicago. I'm assuming that has to do with some of the cities. Maybe that's where the dice comes in. All right, what else do you get in the game? Well, obviously you need a way to randomize the criminals, and that's your handy dandy bag. It seems like all games now, one of the premium upgrades in almost every game is to have one of these really nice bags. Either felt or velvet or cloth or something like that. This one's thick. It's got the logo. Very nicely done. Last but not least, we have the cards. And I told you each player is going to get 7 cards, at least in the Chicago setup that I saw with Brody. And this is the artwork for the cards. All right, so you see the strength on there on the number. And of course, for color blindness purposes, they do have a little symbol next to it. That's all, as far as I know, that's all it is for color blindness. But below that, they have a symbol. And that means it's a special agent. So we're going to place it down face down as a mole. But when it gets bumped by another player playing a card there, and that's the danger. If you move a card because you really want a high strength card to go into that location, you might be just flipping up a mole that someone else has and gives them a special action. But that's what this symbolizes. This symbolizes a special action. And if I remember right, the special actions, there are just 3. There are just 3 that are shown, and that's this kind of agent-looking guy, this movement kind of looking thing, and then this cop car looking thing. Yeah, police car thing. But my understanding is that each scenario they're going to play a little bit differently. So you'll have to keep an eye on that. We might want to let's take a look at New Orleans and see. I don't remember. It's been so long. Yeah. So in this one, the infiltrate, which is where they've got that little symbol of the kind of the person with the eyeglasses. It flips any mole, and if it's a special, so let's say you've played a mole and you want to know whether to play it, you can flip any mole, and if it's a special agent, it moves to the field the same location and use its power. Otherwise, move it to a different field. Oh, so nice. So you can use your infiltrate action to find out what that mole is, and if it's not a special agent, get it out of there, right? Okay. Redeploy lets you swap any rookies. Rookies are the first agents that are placed out from the mole side onto the side of the city, or the furthest to the right. In other words, the last card that's been flipped out from the mole. So you can swap rookies, swap utility tokens, and any 2 siren tokens. Okay, so yeah, you're really strong at the docks, but it's only a 1. Yeah, use your redeploy power to bring the 4 over there and score more points at the end of the game. And then the police patrol, that's draw 2 criminals from the bag and place on any location. Again, you're really strong in a location. Hey, use the New Orleans patrol to help you, go grab 2 criminals and put them at your location. So, as you can see, it's gonna give you some fresh play every time you do that, because each of the locations are gonna play a little bit different. I'm looking forward to this. We are definitely gonna try to stream the Feds. We will also have it as one of the featured games at Southern Board Game Fest coming up in the spring. Details to be announced pretty soon, but circle your calendars for spring, Marchy of 2025. We're looking forward to another fantastic Southern Board Game Fest. Big thanks to Steve Finn and everybody at Dr. Finn's Games for providing the Feds to us, although I was a Kickstarter backer also, so just full disclosure. And look forward to seeing all of y'all at Southern Board Game Fest. And if you want, I'd love to play the Feds with you, especially the New Orleans scenario. Well, that's it for the Feds. Until next time, Laissez, bon temps, rouler.